Attention, we now have control of your streaming device.
What is going on, everybody out there in podcast land? How y'all doing tonight?
I am fantastic.
Hello,
Yo,
my darlings.
E3
Doing great.
Monster and special guest, Rooter Allister. What's up, man?
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah,
so
dude.
much for coming.
Thanks for
Yeah,
coming on, man.
Yeah.
From the sister podcast, the
Right.
Crafting Cannabis,
Mhm.
the Crafting Cannabis Experience. Can we call it that? Because
Talk.
it is an experience, man. I love listening to you guys. You get
Oh,
into
thanks.
some weird shit sometimes.
Yeah, so we've been talking lately. We talk about crafting cannabis, maybe 10% of the show. So we should probably amp that content up a little bit.
Well, it's more of like a lifestyle show, which
Sure.
we need. Like
Yeah.
it's there's cannabis, but gets into some conspiracy topics, some current events. Man, no, I think it's definitely a good vibe, man. It's
Cool.
got a niche, So
Yeah, I certainly enjoy listening to you guys.
Oh
Good
my
energy.
gosh. Yeah. You guys have had some of the best interviews I've heard, period.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Thanks for that. That's cool. Yeah, we're excited. We've actually got some booked out too here. So our schedule is doing good right now. And yeah, it's exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like personally when you delve into the more obscure topics like flat Earth theory and the missing timelines and the time is a flat circle. I mean, no,
Of
that's
course you do.
my
Tell
favorite
me you
stuff.
don't like talk out loud at them, like
Yeah.
while they're
Of course
do you
I
reply to them?
Yeah.
Of course, I feel like I'm part of the conversation, and then I'll go and like message all three of them about like the thought that I had when I was listening to the show, and
Yep.
they're all nice enough to humor me and like ha ha, Captain, yeah, you're right.
We like to
But
let it flow a little bit,
Nice.
for
yeah,
sure.
dude.
Yeah. Mhm. So I guess it's
Oh,
more
it's
like
a good time.
like just hanging out with people that grow a pot is pretty much kind of that's what the show is.
Yeah. Well, and you
Yeah.
get into it's like and of course when people start smoking pot, you get into the like yo man, have you ever looked at the stars? Like, dude, what is that stuff up there? You ever really think about what those are?
Mhm.
Yeah, like
John
that kind of stuff, You just get in,
John
the
Stewart from Half Baked,
yeah, pretty
The man
much.
in the bushes, man.
Yeah,
Oh my god,
and
I
the
almost forgot he was in that fucking
man
movie.
in the bushes
Uh,
on weed. Oh, that's half baked.
Yep.
But no, it's just a good time. So everyone, if you haven't done so already, go check it out. For fuck's sake. What are you doing?
Please. We plead you.
So, what are you smoking on tonight, sir? You puffing on a joint?
Yeah, I got some rolled up in advance here. It's Colombian mojito. It's that photo period that I talk about all the time. Um, I like it. I like it a lot. It's a nice, kind of even, won't really put you to bed. So that's why I was looking to be a little bit more alert because I'm normally actually a little sleepy right now, to be honest. But I
yeah.
feel good.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, mojito. It's a good strain. It's I'm keeping mom's of it because I want to carry it forward. But yeah, it came from one bag seed from a dispensary, and then I grew it up and I sent it in, got a Delta Leaf Labs test, and it came back female. So I kept growing it, and now I've actually gone through 2 crops off of that one plant. So
Cool.
Wait,
yeah,
isn't it
Gift
funny
keeps
how you
on
could find
giving.
that? Yeah, exactly. That's fucking sick, man.
yeah. And
It's
it's
it
you said
sounds like on the like more sativa leaning type of thing,
it is. Yeah,
or
it's
narrow
yep,
leaf.
yep, yep. It's more uplifting. So it's I did some digging into it. It's a pheno of Colombian gold that was brought back to the States by a rapper slash cannabis enthusiast, this guy named Masta Cylinda. And he so I don't know like the intricacies of that story. That was just in this write up that I found.
Shout
Um
out to Master Cylinder.
Master
Matt,
cylinder.
Yeah,
yep.
keep those brakes working.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's a
But that was
great
cool.
name. But I imagine it's cylinder,
It
right?
is with the A at the
No,
end. Yep.
no
Yep.
hard R on the
Yep.
cylinder. Gotcha.
Fuck.
It's well, dude, that's cool. So I see a tent behind you.
Hmm.
What you got in the tent, man?
Yeah, this is autoflower breeding project I'm working on. I just not something I'm trying to like, put out, quote unquote, but it's I just crossed year before last the forge from Gnome Automatics with Cosmic Apprentice from Night Owl. And I just liked both of those. And so I wanted to kind of see what would happen. And it was my foray into breeding. So I'm growing F2 right now, going to get F3 seeds. And so that's what the tent is
Cool, man.
yeah, a male and 2 females.
Wait,
Already on F3s. Wow.
Getting there. I'll be growing F3s like through the summer probably. Yeah.
Oh,
and so tell us a little bit more about the lineage.
Oh, so the forge is from Gnome, and he says that it was bred for density, basically, which is kind of why I picked that. And
Hmm.
it seems to have imparted that trait so far. But Cosmic Apprentice is also really dense. But
Mhm.
but Cosmic Apprentice I liked, but it's I mean if you're into strong weed, that's one to get from Night Owl because it's really almost psychedelic. So it was actually a bit strong for me, and I was wondering if that would taper off mixing with the forge. So that's why I
Yeah.
started
So the
trying it out.
Cosmic Apprentice is Cosmic Queen and crossed with what else? Do you
Like
know,
the
Rudy, off the top of your head?
Wizard's Apprentice, I think,
Is it
is the
Wizard's
cross.
Apprentice? Wouldn't make sense. Now there's one also in his catalog that like the parents are reversed on that one, I think. And I think it's Cosmic
Mm,
Queen and something else that's like the analog of it. But
mm.
in any case, that's pretty cool, man. You're just, going balls deep, into the whole
Yeah,
autoflower. You started growing, you fell in love with it, and you want to start making your own seeds, obviously, right? That's the
that
next
was
step.
it. Yeah, that was it. Basically, it's like I'm kind of a prepper, not hardcore. I don't have a shed or anything, but I like to stock up on stuff. And so once I got the idea that I could make some seeds, I was like, this is great. Let's try it out. So far I've just been making small batches to kind of pheno hunt and narrow it in. And then soon I want to do like a big run. So I actually have like a lot, in the stash.
Are you
That's
really
rad.
liking like what she's giving you? Does she throw a lot of color? I know those are two random different questions, but
No, there's not a lot of color. It's mostly green throughout. But I do like it. It's kind of uplifting and like high in terpenoline, piney kind of flavor.
Ah,
Ooh,
mhm.
Hmm. Yep.
tiny.
Yep. So, yep. And more on the uplifting side, which I'm grateful that kind of came through. That's what I was going for. I think, you know how you have different nervous system types and some people are sort of up and some people are down. And I think I'm generally in the down sort of area because I don't really gravitate towards downers or sleep aids or any kind of thing like that. And in the heyday, back in the day, it was other kind of uppers, but now it's coffee and
Gotcha.
sativa.
Got
Yeah,
it. You mean like no dose tablets at the
yeah.
local Sev? You get those Oh my God. I've seen people like overdose on those things, guys. Don't
Oh
mess
yeah,
around with like
don't.
caffeine pills and
Dude,
stuff. Like it's
caffeine's a
not,
hell of a drug,
Yeah,
man.
dude, for
yeah, it
real.
is. No, it's totally not worth it. Let's just say I had my 20s like most people, you know.
Yeah. We experimented a little bit, you know. I think I had a
Mhm.
little bit of a confessional last show about some of that. But hey man, you know, no harm, no foul, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. But no, so that's why I like the uplifting smoke. I do like to keep sleepy weed, we call it, around a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, lately it was blueberry grape from the big green guy
Yeah.
genetics, because that was really nice for bedtime and just lay you right down.
Yeah, that shit
Um,
hit hard.
so I like to have something like that around usually, but that will last longer for me. But yeah, I started growing just because I smoke a lot. Like this cannabis is my main medicine for life for pretty much everything. So I just
For
kind of
life.
yeah. And I
Hey.
told myself there was a period of time where I quit for 2 years, and when I started back up, uh, I was kind of consciously said to myself that I'm gonna have as much as I intend to have, and then also gonna give freely. So if anybody's around me, the joint's always going out, like never kind of hoard it. So I try to pay attention to that. But that gets expensive. So that was when I had
Oh
this
yeah,
moment.
man.
Like most people that we kind of talk to in this circle, the beginning of the pandemic and the lockdowns and all that is I started about a year before that. So I've been around growers and stuff here and there throughout my whole life, but I actually started probably a year before all the COVID stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you started with
Yeah.
autos?
No, I started with bag seed from what was it? Gorilla Glue.
Hmm.
Yep. And got a whole plant bud rotted, completely white, covered in
Oh,
rot.
Oh,
Yep.
oh
Yep.
no.
Yeah.
man. That
It was in
hurts
the
just to
basement.
hear about.
Yeah. It's
How
a
long
learning
ago
experience.
was that? A couple years?
That was like 2018 or 19. Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
What did you have LED lights at that time or like
Yep.
yeah,
My first kit I got
CMH?
yeah, first kit I got for myself was a Spider Farmer LED, like the
Ooh,
rectangular one.
Hmm.
And that was nice. I mean, the plant was really nice. My problem was I was bringing in outside air and I just hadn't learned enough and wasn't applying the right things. But all that wet, moist outside air coming in a cold basement, just did its thing. So,
Condensation, yeah, instant
yeah,
condensation. Yeah,
yeah.
bummer.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
No, we
since
learn.
then,
you
I feel like
Dude, I say it all the time. We learn way more from mistakes than we do success, right? Because success, you get
oh, yeah,
yeah.
complacent, right, and cocky,
Yeah.
even sometimes, right? So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
And then
mistakes
you
kick your
learn,
ass
yeah,
for
you
good
learn quick
reason.
putting all the time and the power bill and the focus and everything through a crop. You learn when you fuck it up, like only have to do that a couple of times.
yeah, the feeling of failure for most people
Mhm.
sucks. Sucks
Mhm.
pretty bad. You don't want to, you know, you'd like to experience that as little as possible. So
Yeah,
then, yeah, put in more effort for that to not be the
Mhm.
case next time.
yeah.
exactly.
Or you
Talk
For
just
about
me,
live
getting
by the
help.
old motto of if at first you don't succeed, you give up and find someone to blame.
yeah.
Mhm.
I do. I see every once in a while on Instagram, somebody will say that they're quit growing. I'm like, no, don't.
Oh,
Don't quit.
I know.
Yeah,
There
Those
is
are
no quit.
heartbreaking.
No, you're not allowed to quit growing.
Don't be
yeah.
that.
That's not a thing, guys. Like once you're in the club, you're in for life. You
Yep.
are not allowed to leave. All right. I mean,
Do you know
so I
anybody
hope you
who's
know that.
actually legit started growing and like gone full steam ahead, tent and everything, and then stopped?
Oh, I
I
know
don't.
probably a 2 dozen
Yeah.
people
Really?
personally,
Mhm.
maybe more if I sat back and think about it. Yeah.
And just totally stopped growing. Just
Yep.
doesn't have it in their lives at all anymore.
Hmm.
Oh, I feel so bad for them.
I
Yeah.
think it's
Speaking,
intimidating for some people, and then if you keep making mistakes, then it's just like it's
Well,
not going to do.
you see a lot of people too, they get into it for the wrong reasons too. Like
Yeah.
they're in it to try to make loot or um the other thing too is growing weed is easy. Growing good weed is hard. I've said it before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they want the same quality that they're used to getting from other people and they grow it. They're like, what the fuck? This sucks. Like, this isn't good weed. Like, yeah,
Yep.
because you fucked it up. You
Yep.
know,
Welcome to the
so
learning curve.
yeah. So it you know it takes a little bit of attention to detail, and not everybody has that really to
Mm.
be able to. It's these days it's more convenient for people to just go to the dispo or whatever call their
Mhm.
buddy. So
Mhm.
Real.
Yeah,
No, I
and
mean,
especially like some of the market is so flooded, it's really getting cheap now. So it's actually less of a financial concern these days. Around here, I mean, you can get an ounce for $70 at some of these dispos.
mhm.
What?
Yeah,
holy shit, man.
the
I don't know if
That
market is
that's
flooded.
blows my
probably like
mind.
not a good thing in all
It's the
honesty.
it's the lowest grade, but people are going to get it when you're broke.
Yeah,
You know.
generally speaking, though,
Wow.
people don't care too much about quality.
Hmm.
Or if they do, they just want like the highest THC. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've smoked shit that people like, dude, they just came from the dispo. This is like the highest shit they have. It's like 38%. And I taste it and it's got no flavor, like no terps. Like, you can clearly see the oil ring on the thing, like, and it's definitely obviously has oil in it, like, so, but yeah, just no terps. So,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, not the right like mixture of oils either. I mean, it's not, the I forget what's the effect. The
Entourage?
remind me, entourage effect. Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
it's a big balance of everything, and if I smoke something and it doesn't have any flavor, like, I don't want to smoke it. I don't care how high it's gonna get me.
Hmm.
It's just at the end of the day, like, I just want to taste it, like, give
Yep.
me them
Yep.
terps.
Right.
Yep.
For sure. Well, now you raised a good point too about like getting into it for like wanting to be generous too.
Well,
And
let's
that's
say
all
I
part
just
of
did
it.
for not to like, yeah, sort of. I That was just my excuse for me to smoke as much as I want. You
Well,
know.
Hey, whatever
it
helps
is
you sleep at
nice
night, dude.
Yeah.
to be able to give away like what you've
Yes.
been working on,
Yeah. I'd
and
like to
have
not.
enough
Yeah, I like
to
to
not
not worry
worry.
about right,
Yeah,
not worry about handing a joint to somebody, or if people are out, give them a jar, that kind of thing. Yeah, because it should be spread around like that.
for sure.
Absolutely, brother.
For
Yeah.
Just like
sure, man.
Feels
tomatoes,
And
so
right? Like, we
good
we
to
harvest our garden, we spread the love that way. Why can't we do it with cannabis?
Hmm.
one of the best parts. I'm sorry, were you going to say something, G3?
I was just saying it feels amazing to be able to like hand a jar of something you grew
Yeah.
to someone you know and be like, here you go. This is going to beautifully enhance your life. That's
One of
amazing. What an
my favorite parts.
incredible gift.
Yep.
For
Agreed.
sure. For someone like, it's, I mean, especially in a non-legal state, it's kind of like in my daily travels, I don't run into people like on the reg that I'm like 100% convinced like, this is a person who appreciates fine cannabis here and like can, pick apart terpene profiles, that kind of thing. Like very, very rarely do I come across that person. When I do, the next time I meet them, I I tend to like do a little bit of a revolving circuit, so to speak, for work. So like I encounter the same people like bi-weekly, tri-weekly. So like next time I see them, hey, I got a little gift for you, man. Try
Nice.
this out.
That's the way to do it for sure. I love
Yeah,
it.
it's
I
makes me
like
Oh
feel
it
yeah.
good too.
in cannabis. Like, I tow truck driver or whatever, fucking like, you'd be surprised though how many of them turn it down.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm
Hey, they
like,
got to be like they're CDL guys, they're tested, I think.
yeah,
COVID
Right?
stopped a lot of people from sharing joints too. I even had that subconscious imp. If I see somebody be like, "Hey, you want to hit?" But I would stop myself because I was wondering if they would be afraid. So a lot of that like has kind of petered out. But I enjoy doing that, like especially in areas where it's legal and people don't care. If you're on a sidewalk or in a public area and you just hand it around, like that's also fun. When it's possible.
That's cool,
oh
man.
yeah.
So you're
Totally.
in a legal spot now. Like, could you bring a bong around? Like, just sit on a park bench with like a
Well,
little
there's
bong,
public.
like this big.
I'm actually a little bit ignorant about that. I know there's public consumption laws, you know, the same way you can't like carry a beer down the sidewalk. So I'm pretty sure that applies
Gotcha,
to
gotcha.
cannabis as well. Yeah.
You just have to put it in a paper bag.
Right. But for sure all the smokers at bars are smoking
That's
joints,
funny.
you know, in the smoking area right outside the bar and going back and forth. Like that's definitely no.
Yeah, that definitely happens in Mass. It sounds just like Mass.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm,
technically, you're not supposed to, like, smoke a joint walking down the street, but, I mean, technically, there's people doing it every day. So,
mhm.
um, it like, I don't a bong, though, yeah, if you brought a bong in the park, I don't know how long you'd last. I mean, it really just depends on what part of Boston you're in.
Yeah.
Be me. Like find a way to like how do I bring my bong with me? Like a little briefcase, put it in my backpack. But no, I could dream one day,
Mhm.
perhaps one day. Man, so we didn't even get around to the other guys. I want to hear what you're smoking on tonight. The whole
Yep.
gang. What about you, Monster? What you got?
Smoking on some Cherry Smash Keef rosin.
Okay. That's in-house genetics. A little bit of a would you press it with
Yeah,
your new press? Cool.
not new, but new, basically, I mean,
Newish.
hadn't used the thing in, like, 2 years, so, yeah, it felt like new
Or
again, it was awesome.
you're using your new your Dr. Dab, right? Dr. Dabber.
Yeah, man, I love that fucking thing, it's my new best friend.
That's
She
cool.
comes with me everywhere. Um,
Aw. It's like a
yep,
familiar.
yeah, um, it's just perfect when you just wanna take a rip and, like, get on with your day, right? Um, so, yeah, and I don't get, like, super, super big, but, like, I get high enough, um, you know, where I'm not, like, blasted out of my mind. I'm not, like,
Where it counts.
stinking like, weed. So, yeah, for on the go, I love this thing. It's perfect. And even
Cool,
when I'm
cool.
at my house, so, yeah. Shout out to Dr.
Hell
Dabber.
yeah. Yeah,
Thing's the
right.
shit.
Nice.
What percentage of the time do you feel like you use that now?
Probably 50/50 because my bong is still an everyday occurrence. Like, I'll never get
Mhm.
away from flower. I love flower. Um, but for portability, like, when I'm out and about, I'd say, like, 85% of the time, like, if I'm just by myself, like, getting shit done, that's what I'm using. Because I can just throw it in my bag with water in it, and then, like, um, it's, it just works. I pull
Nice.
it
Doesn't
out and
spill at
no, it's
all?
spill proof. No, it's fucking awesome.
That's cool.
Wow.
Pill proof.
Yeah, and it only
Man,
holds,
why
like, literally, like, 2 milliliters of water anyway, like, so there's not like, the worst case scenario is, like, nothing.
why
Cool.
can't
Well,
they
and I
like
guess you're not burning flour through it, so it's not that terrible in the
Yeah,
long
so
run.
when you're running oil through it, the water doesn't really get stinky.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Sure.
not like shit you'd wanna drink, obviously, but it's not, because it has those little, like, rosin boogers in there, from, like, the leftovers, you know what I mean? Anybody that, does
Yep.
oil. Um, so there's maintenance, though, with this thing, though, like, that's the thing, right, with dab rigs, like, I have to carry Q-tips and alcohol with me. Um,
Mm.
so
Q-tips. So I use these I use it's a dab specific Q-tip called a glob mop. Have
yep,
you
I've
heard of
seen
these
those.
I've heard of
things?
that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're really good actually. Like, I mean, because I mean, not that a Q-tip doesn't suffice in most times, but like sometimes you find that these Q-tips are made with these flimsy little plastic.
I will
You know,
100% agree with you.
yeah,
Standard Q-tips are okay. You need something wood related. So, I bought these on Amazon. I got 1,100 of them for like $10. They're bamboo with cotton. Just
Cool.
nothing special.
word.
Um,
So there's also I
just generic.
the one thing I think they are made locally to you and I G3 that like I swear by are they're called terp wipes,
Oh,
which
no
are
shit.
like
Those are local to you guys?
yeah, they come in like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
look
I've
like
seen
a
those before.
little hand wipe packet that you
Mhm.
get at like the restaurant after you eat chicken wings, you know what I mean?
Cool.
And it's kind of the same thing. Actually, I think it's a little bit of a different alcohol that they use, which on immediate contact with any, resin, it takes it right off. So, I mean, for your tools, your like, what do they call it? Your scoop. I don't know what you want to refer to it as.
That's
Yeah,
called
your
dab tool.
dab scoop. I don't
Your
know, dab
tool.
tool. Yeah, your
Yeah.
tool. You got to wipe your tool off sometimes. G3, your tool gets dirty. Have you ever heard of schmegma?
You know what I use? Because generally
Yeah,
speaking, when I'm
I
out and
work
about,
in the
I'm wearing like a
professional
cheap
health field.
T-shirt. I just use I heat
Ooh.
it up with my lighter and wipe it on my cheap shirt because I don't give a fuck.
Well, you could do that too. You
Yeah.
could do that too.
Definitely
But you need
not giving a fuck.
Oh
you
yeah.
tend
Proper
to
tool
need
maintenance, people. Proper tool
a type of
maintenance.
alcohol. You need a little bit of that alcohol to
Yeah.
take off a sticky resin or a glob of something or other,
Heat,
man. So
heat and a paper towel will work just as well. Next time, just try it. Seriously, take your lighter, heat up your dab tool, and then just wipe it. It'll
I
get it
hate it
just
because
as clean
then
with alcohol.
half the time it gets stuck, and then you like end up.
No,
yeah,
it
then
only
it'll
gets
turn it
stuck if you
black.
don't heat it.
Turn it
It only
black.
gets stuck if
Happens
you
to me
don't
too.
heat it enough. If you heat it
Yep.
enough, I'm telling you, it
Give
won't
me the
stick.
alcohol.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, I use alcohol
I like
anyway.
that method.
But there's been times where I haven't had alcohol. Like you heat it up enough and just wipe it, it comes right off.
Terp wipes.
I
Terp
guess it
wipes.
Yeah, yeah,
needs
disposable,
must.
throw in the
But
trash wipes. Yay!
That's right. Hey, I
Triple
mean,
G,
well,
what's that
or hey,
lava lamp?
disposable,
Gee,
throw in
wait
the
a minute,
trash, paper
dude.
towels.
Hold on, dude. Rudy just stumbled onto
What
something.
is?
He just called her
What?
Triple G.
yeah, 3G.
Yeah. Oh,
Triple
have you
G.
G3. Because
That's her
did I
new
stumble
name.
onto something?
Triple
Triple
G.
G. Try G.
Oh, G. Yeah. I've gotten so many. I mean, even, Barely calls me G3, 3G, Triple G.
3G. Well,
Fuck with
we
all of
couldn't
them.
use that because that's the phone bandwidth
Yeah.
that we once used.
Triple G is like a
Right.
wrestler. You like a
That's
WWE
Triple H.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Triple H. Right.
Couple letters off.
There's a
What's
meme in there somewhere, Brack. I mean, just man, what would G3 the WWF wrestler look like? That's my question.
Yeah, I was
Well,
wondering what that lava lamp looking thing is in
yeah,
front of you there.
what
Is
is
that a rig?
that there, G3?
This
That's her microphone.
Yeah.
Oh, is
is
that
my
your mic?
microphone.
Oh, it's
Oh, yeah,
fancy.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's right. I thought you were going to talk to us about your like fancy new. I thought that was some kind of smoking
Yeah,
implement.
like yeah.
No,
What kind of
Nope.
mic is that? Pretty
nothing
dope
fun.
looking.
It's like a HyperX something.
Mm,
Something. I don't know.
yep. I totally
It's
fell for it. I thought it
fancy
was
and it's pretty. That's why I
it
got
is
it.
nice.
Works really well too. It has great reviews. So, yeah,
Yeah, you sound good.
For
I'm
sure.
a big fan. I
For
like it.
sure. Well,
Speaking of the
what do you have
He's a
in your
real
bong
lava
tonight,
lamp.
G3?
He up
Oh,
there.
yeah, I know. See, that's original from Spencer's in the mall.
Wow.
Spencer's. There's another throwback.
nice.
The place where lava lamps are born.
That's where they come from.
Where else do you get one
But
these days? Amazon or Spencer's?
Amazon.
I've seen them at Walmart.
Amazon.
Oh, I guess Walmart would have them too.
Yeah,
That's
Target.
appropriate.
They gotta be
Target.
somewhere. But they used to have like black light posters and stuff. You remember all that cool stuff, man? When malls were like a thing, you'd go in and get oh, I'm gonna go into Sam Goody and get a black light and like a Pink Floyd poster that reacts to black light.
Or any old head
Oh
shop.
man,
The old head shops.
yeah,
Yeah, you could
head
always get that.
shops too.
Yeah.
Could always get that stuff, man. They would sell those cool little like fiber optic. Remember those like spheres that had like it was like a koosh ball thing. It had like the glowing tips on them and stuff.
Yeah.
They sell
Yeah.
all that stuff, man. But
Yeah.
what you
The
smoking,
trip.
G3? What you
Yeah.
smoking?
This is peppermint kush.
Oh,
Ooh.
Which is like Okay, so if you guys, I have a story. It'll be super fast. But this is like believe in magic type of story. So
Nice.
this peppermint kush came from a friend. And the strain is no longer like being made at all. It was originally from Barney's farm. They've discontinued it. The only seeds that still exist are like in a handful of remote, obscure seed banks that I'm not sure I would ever want to order from. So basically, like, she was it. And I loved her so very much. She was a joy to grow. She was gorgeous. Her effects are phenomenal. She smells amazing. She can handle any and all abuse that I can dish out. Like, oh, she's perfection. So I tried to self her 3 separate times after cloning her multiple times and picking what looked like the best clones, and tried to self her 3 times, followed the instructions perfectly, did everything right, even like double checked with people, made sure I was doing it correct, and nothing. Failure all 3 times. So this was the last of 2 I had left. One of them had been sprayed with STS, and once you spray it, that's it. You can't use it anymore. So she got chucked after she was like legitimately in flower, and I was like, there are no male parts on here. None.
Damn.
So I had this little girl left. She was the last clone. I let her go all the way to flower, harvested her, and then I was like, oh fuck, what have I done? Like,
You killed the lineage.
there's no
Yeah,
way I
that's
should have
rough.
stopped. There's no way I should have stopped. Like, what have I done? But I'm
Yeah,
down to
yeah.
such little room right now, and I have obligations and desires to do other things as well. I don't have it to like keep a mother at the moment. So I was like, God damn it, I can't believe I couldn't get this
Sometimes
to
you just
work.
have to
Mm-hmm.
make a
However,
ruthless decision and like stamp out a bloodline forever and all
yes,
eternity. You
yes.
just have to.
So I was she just came out of she was dried and came out of like she's kind of a little early out of cure, but I couldn't wait. So I had her in the grinder yesterday, and I'm grinding her up, and I open it up and there's a fucking seed in there.
Ah,
Cool. Yeah.
nature finds a way.
Yep.
Was that the one that you re-vegged?
Yeah.
Oh wow! So you really
Worth.
worked to keep this thing around.
I really worked to keep her
Wow.
alive, and it was like the universe was like, no, 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 no. And
So
then
are
all of a
you
sudden there's a seed in there. So it's definitely from her, because she was what I was grinding up. There was definitely
well
no seeds
it's
in there. So I have found no seeds in any of my plants ever.
so what you can say
Ever.
she's definitely the mother.
Yeah, she's
But
definitely
like
the mother. But like,
you
who
can't be
could the dad?
entirely
Who the
sure.
daddy?
We should do
Daddy.
like a Mari episode. Like, what other plants did you have in the tent at the time?
The
Like, were there
only
any
other.
that were
Okay,
doing?
so there are 2
It could be
possibilities.
anyone. She was sleeping around at the time. You are not the father.
I have no idea. I'm gonna eventually have to grow it, and like hopefully it's viable and it'll work, and we'll have to find out who the daddy was, because there's 2 possibilities. One of them is that there was a really sneaky male part on that other peppermint kush clone that was in the tent with her. They were the only 2 in the tent together. I always dealt with that tent first. Always. So the chances of cross contamination from my other tent into that one where my other girls are is like really, really slim.
I think the
Really
most likely
slim.
option is that it hermed and pollinated
Self-pollinator.
itself.
Mhm.
Maybe. Let's hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
So
Right
it's
out there.
that the other
Occam's
chance is it's
razor.
tangy tibiguana, because I pulled 2 super small nanners off of her at the bottom when I harvested her.
Mm,
Just stress nanners, because I let her run as
gotcha.
long
I
as
see.
I
I
could.
think like I honestly think like at the end of the cycle, that type of stuff, or like letting an auto go too long, those types of nanners usually, they're like shooting blanks.
Right.
They're
I feel
not
like it's
Yeah, but
they're
viable.
less
if you pollinated
viable.
at that point. It's
That's
too
the
far
Hail
along
Mary.
to accept pollen, so it doesn't
Right.
matter.
So
You
it
could
wouldn't
duck.
So,
like make viable pollen, you think? Like I'm not,
I don't even know if the the pollen may be viable, but the plants, I mean, unless you're, uh,
that's what
polycropping,
I'm
you have plants at different stages, then possibly. But I
gotcha.
well,
don't
that's
know
what I
if the
mean. The
No, and
pollen's
I'm
entire
viable.
thing
saying,
is to like carry on the genetics, right? So a female plant, she is flowering. She's in flower, she's in flower, she's in flower. Oh my gosh, I haven't been pollinated. I'm not making any seeds. I'm going to die and my genetics are going to die with me. How else can I do this? We're going to make nanners and we're going to spread some pollen.
yeah,
It's the
Good.
only other
well,
way. So it's like their
so
Hail
it's
Mary. So it's got to
Mm,
it
be
is.
viable to some degree. I just don't think it's, you know, it
I
is a
mean,
yeah,
Hail
it's
Mary. The
yeah.
chances of them being passed on that way, especially in a tent, is so slim. So
Well,
maybe she harmed. Maybe there were some weird random boy parts on the other peppermint kush that was in there with her, the other clone. Maybe it's a
possibly.
super sneaky ninja tangy tip iguana random pollen, but we've got a seed, so we'll have to eventually find out what it is.
Well,
But
you got to
interesting.
pop it. Yeah, like see
Yeah.
if the morphology is the same, and if you recognize her,
oh my
that's
god, I would recognize her from a mile away.
Some
So
of the most
I'm
popular
super thrilled
strains,
about this.
some of
Hooray.
the most popular strains come from herms.
Yep.
I don't know if I could name them
and they
all off
do.
now. Monster, you probably could.
Nah, I don't
Well,
fucking keep
in
up with a
the
bunch of that shit. But
GG4, right? Isn't that the
GG4
most famous?
is
Mhm.
one of the most infamous ones.
And like
Um,
Chem Dog, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that whole
I think so.
lineage.
Yeah.
it
You know,
the thing is, right, is that seed has, probably a little bit higher likely chance of herming again, but you just have to grow it and see what happens, right? I've
Mhm.
seen people do
Yeah.
some special shit with herm seeds. So, um,
Yeah.
I mean, look, like you were just saying, Rudy, right? You got that bag seed. Um,
Yeah, I've got two bag seed plants going on. The other one is jet fuel, but they both came from one seed from a dispo that was in the bag.
Yeah, my
there you go.
first one ever was from a bag seed from a dispo. Gloria was
Mm.
a cherry diesel bag seed, so
right
and
Yeah,
on.
she was
you're
awesome
gonna,
and she handled everything brilliantly. So,
just gonna fuck around and find out.
fingers crossed.
Dude, like that's the thing.
Absolutely.
Like there's this like stigma, like I mean, I guess because I guess breeders don't want to be known as like people who make mistakes and like accidentally let like a plant X pollinate plant Y when like that wasn't my intention, oh god, um
Mm,
so like it's kind of like admitting a little bit of a mistake. So there is this stigma against like popping herm seeds or like ever saying like I would grow a herm seed. But like we're saying, I mean like that's some of the best strains have come from just random herm pollinations. What is
Yeah.
the difference, I ask, when like ultimately growing the plant? Like is it are you going to notice any fucking difference at all? Probably
Yeah.
not.
Oh
I
my
mean,
god.
Probably not.
Neville, who's responsible for like most of the modern strains that are around, he was all open pollination and just pollinate the room and then just put all that out. And it just had so much diversity in it, it spread out. And I think, but yeah, I would
well,
get,
open
you know,
pollination versus
Yeah, that's not
herm. I mean,
I
I
know
mean,
that's
it's
it's
got
not
to
different.
a
be different.
herm exactly.
The thing
Yep.
is, right, if the plant had that intersex trait, right, um, it's just more likely to pass it on, through its genetics.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest downfall that you can say to growing a bag seed. Now, other than that, there really is no downfall, right? So you literally have to grow it and fuck around and
Just
find out. And
fuck
even if you
around and
got
find out
herms,
exactly.
no, even if you got herms on it from the time you planted it, right? If you took a cut from it and then grew it out again, things can be different. Like, um, when I grow photos, I generally try not to do seed runs. Like I pop seeds and find what I like, but then when I want to grow it, a room full of whatever, I have a mom that I'll take cuts from. So I have that predictability and knowing that everything's going to be the same. So um,
Mm.
it's the same thing when you pop seeds though. Like it'll be different when you clone it. It'll be a little bit more stable. generally speaking.
Hmm.
G3, I can second witness your story. I actually today went and, in a panic, took some cuttings off of plants that I had started to flower because I realized I had been flowering all my clones. I was like, oh no, I'm going to lose it. So,
Hmm.
yeah. So I just went and snipped like 6 small lowers off and threw them in water and put them in the fridge. So I still have to deal with that. And I hope they clone.
I did that twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had no problems re-vegging.
Cool.
No problems
Yeah.
at all. In fact, this one that I'm smoking now, she was from um a clone that she was probably a solid week into flower,
Right on.
at
Cool.
least. Yeah. And I just like, oh shit, I should probably take a clone.
Mhm.
And I just threw her in water and put her in my other tent and she was
All worked
Oh,
fine.
out.
She
nice.
grew
Mhm.
roots. I stuck her in some
Yeah,
soil. She was fine. And now
they
she
are
is
amazing, aren't
this
they?
perfect lady
Yeah.
here. They're the
You
I
most
can
almost
incredible
lost
plant.
lemon carver.
They take some freaking abuse, man.
you
My
can
plants do,
just
at least. I'm savage.
Mm, yeah. I almost lost lemon carver over a mislabel.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
Yep.
Do
Oh
tell.
yeah. I don't know. I forgot to. So I threw out. So I had a reset and I threw out a bunch of moms. And I thought that I had already took cuts for lemon carver. And I threw out my lemon carver mom, like chopped her, killed her, and then I realized I didn't have it. Now, luckily, I had a room full of it, but it was like week 3 in the flower, so I took couple of cuts, like 3 or 4, and luckily I got them to root, so I was happy about that. But now I have this little kind of stunted looking, weird, mutated plant in a solo cup, trying to do its thing. Um, so yeah, I actually I sent one out because someone was really like dying for that cut, and I actually have a couple more people on the list that want it that will get it. It really is. It's a special plant to me. Um, Super bright
Nice.
lemon terps. And frosty, and then she's really not fussy. Just she'll take whatever you throw at her.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have a
breed
lemon
there.
strain from the lemon strain from Humboldt called lemongrass that I grew outside this last summer. That was nice. And I have 2 seeds left of it. So it's a photo. I'm thinking about doing the whole clone run thing with that.
Humboldt, they got some special shit, man. And
Mhm.
they're OGs. They've been doing it a long time.
Mhm.
I've heard their blueberry muffin is like ridiculous.
I got a
Cool.
chance to smell it at Emerald Cup. So they had all their stuff available to buy, their seeds. And what was cool is they had buds of everything that you could look at, you could smell, and then they had
Hmm.
it like magnified. Um,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
Neat.
They actually had probably one of the nicest booths there.
Hmm.
Um, it was really, and everybody was really cool. Um, Shout out to them over at the Emerald Cup. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
they've been doing it a long time.
it took some clerical skill to catalog all those buds and keep them together with the seeds to the display and everything. I just was
Yeah.
thinking that, like, man, I have a hard time keeping track of that.
Dude, and the jars are the coolest
Sure.
thing I've ever seen. And somebody else was telling me that they've seen it before, but basically there were these little jars and they had like these lids that moved, and one part of the lid you could like just look at the bud magnified. Another part you could open it and it had like, for lack of a better term, like salt shaker holes, and you could smell the weed.
Mhm.
Um, it was just pretty cool.
Mhm.
And Yeah, and the
So they
prices are reasonable for their packs. I think it was like, for most of them, it was like $1.20 out the door or something. Like, it wasn't crazy.
did they have, I mean, are these have to be specifically designed to have olfactory access for weed? Like, I find that so
Yeah.
interesting. Who created those in the
Hmm.
first place? I
Factory
wonder
No
if they
clue.
access.
had them created.
It's one
Because
of
We
what
have
a
those
way to
things I
show
really
off
wished I
their
asked.
product.
Yeah.
we
I
have
walked
those.
around that whole weekend floating. So
I
not
believe
no
it.
kidding. There was people there. Me asked Big Ring Guy. There was people there that weren't smoking that got high because like
Wow.
there's just so much smoke going
Yeah.
around that, like, yeah, you're gonna be high even if you don't want to be high if you're just sitting there.
Hotboxing is real. Yeah.
Man. I remember
We
we
have
used to do that shit all the time back in the day with blunts in my
mhm.
buddy's car, windows up, just man, we couldn't even see one another in the car by the
So
time we were
No.
done. But
we have those, cases in the Michigan dispensaries as well, that a lot of
Oh,
them do
really?
have a similar case, yeah, where you can go up and smell it, and there's a magnifying glass.
Yeah, that's pretty
Mhm,
That's
cool.
amazing
mhm,
to me.
yeah, that is some
mhm.
magical stuff.
You can really pull some, snooty consumer shit, and be like, "I can't smell this? What do you" you know?
Well, in mass dispos, you can't smell or look at anything. You order off a
Yeah,
picture menu. Yeah,
well, yeah,
Same in PA.
Yeah.
They don't even give
yeah.
you a picture for fuck's sake. You just get like descriptions of you get like the lab report basically. I
Yep.
mean, they'll tell you like terp breakdowns and um THC
Sometimes.
numbers and stuff like that, but you don't get any
yeah,
Yeah.
pictures. You don't get to look or smell or touch for Christ's sake. Oh my god.
yeah,
No,
No,
can't do
and
any of
they
that
really
yeah,
shit.
want you to order ahead of time on their website.
Oh, yeah, they encourage you, "Hey, did you know you could order on our app?" Yeah, I
They
fucking knew I
yeah,
could order on your app.
sight unseen. Yeah, it's
Have
I
like
you
hate
guys
that
it's
ever
shit.
same rules at like as like a strip club for crying out
Dude,
loud. Like if you touch, there's some like big bouncer that comes out like no. Not allowed to smell,
Yeah,
not allowed to look too closely, and God forbid you lay your fingers on that bud. You get kicked right the fuck out.
yeah. You remember well, I don't know if you guys had similar in these other states, but in the early medical dispensaries in Michigan, like right at the beginning, it was just like like going to your old dealer. Like they had mason jars and weigh it out on a scale and put it in a little paper bag, and there you go.
I
Because there
remember
was no
like yeah,
sanitary
Hmm.
regulations or anything around it.
yeah, wild. That was like back in like the original like Cali legal days, right? Was it like Prop 29 or something when it was
Yeah, well, that's been a long time.
I,
That's almost
I could be
30 years.
wrong, but like yeah,
no,
I mean when
a lot of the early days in, California was like that, and Colorado, um, Michigan, like, some of the early you guys are like, some of the pioneers, really.
that was
Um,
back when anyone could basically grow it and show up at a dispo and if it was good and it passed the smoke test, then it was
Yeah,
like, all right, what
you
are
could
you
trade
asking
it to
for?
them for a donation. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
It's even I think
There's a
even parts of
loophole
Maine
with
is
that.
like that right now.
Could give it to
mhm,
them for yeah, exactly. Some kind of workaround.
mhm.
But oh, those were the days. Those were the days. Just yeah, everyone asking for the full legalization. It's not gonna be pretty when it happens.
Nope.
Nope, nope. It's just like,
Not looking forward to it.
yep, they do that with, everything that's good. I guess.
Yeah,
That's why
but
we can't have nice
that's
things.
why we have our own part of, you know, like we'll
Yeah,
still have what we do over here, probably.
yeah.
Like that's
Oh, dude, I'm so grateful that I got into growing and just being able to have the time and the space to explore it, and whatnot. But it's always better than dispensary weed, the stuff that I grow, and that's not even from a point of cockiness. It just is. And as is everyone else's who grows at home.
Yeah,
now
generally speaking,
Yeah,
unless you're fucking up,
for sure.
you know?
Well, that's
yeah.
like that's a good question, honestly. Like your first grow, right? You said didn't go
Oh, I
that
fucked
well,
it up. Yeah,
right? You fucked it
yeah,
up. Like, so how many grows do you think it really took you till you got to the point where you were growing herb that was better than what you could get at the dispo? Or
Oh,
just as
good
good,
question.
like
yeah. I'd say about 2 years. It was maybe like three
2
crops in
years.
like 2 years. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And like
yeah,
that's, with all the steps, like drying, everything, like at the end of the day, like is my weed better than what I could buy for
yeah,
whatever it costs?
yeah.
That's
It
a
was
I
certainly
mean,
not right at the beginning.
yeah, it
Certainly
doesn't
not.
happen
Yeah,
right away.
yeah.
Like you'll get something in most
Mhm,
cases if unless you get, I mean, a horrible bout of mold or something like that really
mhm,
sucks.
Oh,
Mm.
mhm.
Um But like in most cases, you can fight through a lot of the struggles of like first grow and end up with a crop that is probably not going to blow anyone's socks off or
It's
like,
true.
but it's going to save you from going to the dispo.
Yep. Yep.
But I
And
think
Or
I
two,
do
two
think that,
years is probably a good goal. Like that should be your goal when starting growing is like, all right, I'm not gonna grow the best weed in the world right
yeah,
away. You
yeah.
got to
No,
realize that
you need a community college degree.
a little bit of yeah, like
It's 2
a
years.
little bit of bro science, extended bro science course on Instagram.
I see
Um,
the biggest
Mhm.
struggle for growers, I think, is the drying curing stage. Um,
mhm,
that's really where I struggled at first. That was always like that's why I preach and harp on it so much. Like when I first started growing, I definitely didn't take that part as seriously as I should have. And
it
I think that that's what separated like my crops from being like really good to meh, you know?
mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and
I agree with
How
that. Yeah.
long how long do you think it took you, Monster? Like what but when you
dude,
started
after like 2 crops, I was like, fuck this because I picked like I just kind of thought that like I could do it differently. I'm a hard head in a lot of ways, right? I have to learn things
yeah,
the hard way. So, um I took me a little while, and then I finally just said fuck it and started, taking the dry more seriously. I think that that's usually the people's biggest weakness in their product. Like, they'll hand me a bag to look at, right, and it will look good, and then I stick my nose in, it, and it's just like there's no terps there. So if I can't
Mhm.
smell it, I know right off the bat that it's not going to taste good as well. And then I'll
Yeah.
ask them how they dried it, and they'll tell me, such and such, such and such. And look, at the end of the day, I know that setting up a proper dry isn't fucking isn't hard to do, but it's financially or space wise not easy to do for some people. So
Yeah.
that's where one of those silly little herbs here now dryers would work, and I call it silly because um, the man claims that it works better than hang drying. The product does work, right? And that's perfect for somebody who has a hard time setting up a dry.
I think
If you
both your statements are true. Yes. The man
Yeah,
does make claims, and it does work also.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So but that's why like people need to understand because I've gotten a lot of flack from people about it. Like, oh, it works, it works, it works. I'm like, yeah, if you've listened to what I said, I've always said that the fucking thing works.
Mhm.
That's where we differ. Pleasantly surprised with the product I've tried out of it.
Mhm.
And I've
I
said it
agree.
before. I kind of want one
Yeah.
to be able to just throw some product in there and have it ready in 3 or 4 days or whatever. Sounds
Yeah.
pretty
This
appealing
is
to me.
I mean, this whole process is like anything else working with like plant material, winemaking or uh beer or whatever else that you're doing, like chemical process and biological process and getting it all dialed in. So there's different levels of what you're doing. There's industrial levels, there's like high and low end, like hobby levels, where you can spend 10 grand if you want, or you can get away with spending 1,000
Hmm.
or less, and like, yeah, so there's all these different ways to do it. So that's where I come from with all the different tech. Just like, just pick what works. I do agree, like that if you hang in a perfect environment for a certain amount of time, that's really like the cream of the crop, you know. That's what I try to do with the majority of my stuff. But I have an herbs now for taking samples.
Hmm.
So I'll take some samples right at the beginning and they're ready in 4 days, 4 or 5 days. And it's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, see that's appealing to me to be able to like sample something quickly, right? But like
Mhm.
for mass drying quantities, no. Like in my opinion, the only way to do it is low and slow, like in a nice environment. And here's the other thing that people don't understand about that. If you have that perfect environment dialed in, you can leave your shit there. Like I've left plants there for weeks at a time and come back and
Yeah,
they're
same.
they're fine. Like they're not over dried, right? Because we talk about curing, right? Well, they're curing right there in that environment. Well, I'm giving it the perfect environment to do so,
Yeah,
right?
this
So
stuff I'm smoking right now dried for 38 days hanging.
yeah,
because I didn't have
Yeah.
time to take it down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
So
great. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Right. And it fucking probably smokes like a champ.
You want to do a sample and you don't have an herbs now dryer, all you got to do is wrap your bud that you're trying to dry quickly in a wet paper towel, put it in the microwave on defrost, for like 5 minutes.
Damn.
Okay, start it, and
Okay.
then keep checking it every like minute and a half. That's my advice. It
That's rough,
worked,
dude.
but
Does that work?
no, dude, it was like terrible. No, it dried it out, but it wasn't very good.
How to zap
Yeah.
away
Yeah.
It
your
was,
terps with
yeah,
the cap in his
it
microwave.
wasn't very good.
Terp Zapper
Definitely
3000.
dried it, but yeah, it definitely nuked the shit out of the bud and wasn't like a great representation of what your work was for sure. But
Mhm.
If you
I
really
mean,
want to get
I've
high
seen
off fresh product, the best way to do it is to make some bubble hash. Throw that fresh product in the freezer and then make some bubble. And then you're smoking that bubble in like
for
a,
sure.
a day or two after it dries.
Still gotta let
Right.
that dry, but
It's still only a couple days. Like once you
yeah,
grade it out or whatever, or if
I
you
was
have
no,
gonna
a
we're
say
talking. We,
making
sure,
bubble is
yeah,
a
sure,
we
sure.
need
whole
this is like I need herbs now. I'm putting that shit in the
I,
Right.
microwave.
yeah.
It's so labor intensive making bubble ash. Oh
oh,
my
it really
god.
isn't. It really isn't. I'm gonna have some videos coming out soon
Need
once I'm
my
done with my
herbs
garage.
right
Bubble
now.
hash is easy. It really is. It's easy and it's
It's a little
fun.
time consuming.
It's really
We
not.
got
You can make a batch of bubble in like under an hour.
I need to know the
mm,
best way how to get it out of the bags
A
themselves. I
spoon.
want to get all I that's what I use, but what about all
A
the little bits on the
spatula.
side?
Yeah,
So
spatula,
you
right?
have a spray bottle with water and you just spray it
Oh, a
off and it
spray
Yeah, yeah,
bottle.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That's a good
Good
idea.
idea.
And you have to
I
have
was
That's a
all mesh
good idea.
bags, not any vinyl on them. The ones with the vinyl suck. You
mm,
need all mesh.
I've heard that.
All mesh.
I haven't got into this process yet, but I'd like to try it out.
Yeah, bubble hash does seem
Don't you make
pretty
temple
easy
balls and
for
stuff?
sure.
Yeah,
He
it's
does
just
it with
from
Keith.
dry sifted keef. Yeah.
Mm, cool.
How do you do
Yeah.
that? What's is that like hand pressure and heat?
Yeah. Yep. So it's you clean the keef with they call static tech. So it's I forget the specifics of what's negative and what's positive, but the if you take like a nitrile glove and stretch it over a paint roller, then like clip it up so that you have a smooth rubber surface on the bottom of that roller, and spread your keef out on a parchment paper and rub it like one way, not both ways, but one way like this. And as you're just gently rubbing that pile of keef, the static electricity will pull the trichome heads up to the reverse side of
Oh,
the tube, you know. So
that's crazy.
you do that a few times and you end up with a little thin line on the side of the tube and you brush that off. So it's time consuming. You sit there and do that for a while and then you end up with a pile of pretty clean trichome heads. So then you take those and I just put 2 sheets of parchment paper and then a mason jar of boiling water, and one of the jars that's, like, smooth all the way around, and then just roll that
Sure.
and roll it for about 7 minutes on each side. So it's all it breaks up all the trichome head shells and mixes all that waxy substance and the resin together. Yep. And
Yeah.
then you take that and let it cool down so you can manipulate it and then roll that into a ball, and then that's what you let sit for a while, so,
Holy shit.
yeah. So
It's like
the it's like what?
reminds me of like making dough
Totally. Yeah, it
process.
is.
You're
Yeah,
like
it's like kneading dough.
kneading the terps and stuff like
Very
that. You're
similar actually.
Yep.
And
But what happened?
that shit's like full mellow, it's fire.
Mhm. If yep.
That's
So
awesome.
what happens over time is that the waxy shells of the trichomes and the resin that you've broken them up together, they essentially ferment and they merge together, and that process creates new cannabinoids that are not in cannabis flower. So aged hash
Hmm.
actually has totally different cannabinoids in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why they say that, but like smoking old hash 2, 3, 4 years old, uh, the effect of it lasts much longer, 3 or 4 hours than just smoking some flower, you know?
Huh.
Yeah. So
So
it's an
people
interesting
will
world I've been
age
diving in.
their temple balls.
Yep. Well, back in the day, that was the only way they preserved, so they didn't have a way to and back in the day, I mean, like, take it 1,000 years plus, even up until recently and even now, people in Afghanistan and stuff do this, where their crop is grown for hash because there's not an effective way to preserve flour and to keep it in good
Yeah,
condition
yeah.
and ship it
Well,
around and all that. So they just grow
well,
the whole
in
crop. They beat it down and then they pull the hash from that and sell that off. And then that's
dude,
also
it's
yeah, it's the
literally
best way
like
to
jelly. It's the jelly of the plant.
yeah,
It's
it
the
is.
preserves,
Yep,
you're taking the fruit and you're like turning it into this substance that's gonna last, and it's fucking cannabis
absolutely. And then
jam.
so the full traditionally the full melt stuff is from and I've just learned some of this stuff recently, but the hashishin, the old hash makers would keep their first sift for themselves because that was like pure trichome heads. That was full melt hash. So that was the stuff that never gets sold or shared or anything. And in an actual like traditional like Nepalese temple ball, that's what will be in there. And who knows what those are like? I don't even know, but was what I've been really
Be
fascinated is
nice.
kind of diving into the culture, like so the static tech method
Yeah.
actually is just kind of it's kind of an adaptation of the way they do it in the Middle East, which is with two big like aluminum or tin blades with handles on them. You ever seen like a bread dough cutter that's like a
Yeah.
big blade with a handle on it?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's like those, but really wide, and they put all the sifted keef material basically on a big canvas, and then they go back and forth with these blades at a certain angle, and then after a while you pull the blade up and on the reverse side of the blade will be all the trichome heads. They brush that off into a bucket and then just keep doing that. So that was traditionally how that was done. So I don't know how they did
That
it before they had metal
static
blades, but
tech,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, it's the static
Ancient
electricity
static tech.
attracting the trichomes, the trichome heads, because they're lighter than the contaminants, so they'll stick. They'll get pulled up and stick.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
Very cool,
yeah, it's
man.
it's really fun stuff.
It's amazing how much knowledge there was about the plant just in cultures from thousands of years ago. I mean, truly,
Yeah,
they knew enough to know how to turn those
yeah,
flowers into jam, you know?
yeah. And I think
Cannabis
they had way.
preserve.
I think they had way more advanced knowledge than we have now. Like the knowledge of how to use hemp seeds and cannabis seeds for all sorts of medicine comes down from India.
Oh, yeah, the
You know,
oils and
um,
stuff like that that come out of the
mhm,
seeds
yep.
by
And there's ways
itself.
to cure, gout and anemia and all sorts of shit just with cannabis
No
seeds.
shit.
Mhm.
I think that
There's
stands
a
true
great
for a
book.
lot of seeds though too, not just cannabis seeds,
Mhm.
like seeds in general, like seed
Totally.
sprouts and stuff like that. Yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
A
I
lot of that
recommend a
information
great
is suppressed.
yeah. There's a great book that you can get. It's a little pricey. It might be like $100, called The Handbook of Cannabis Therapeutics. And it's a pretty thick read, and it was written by, I think, 3 or 4 doctors, and it's really dense. And it really goes through a lot of the different traditional ways of using it for therapies for all sorts of
Hmm.
skin, gut conditions, everything.
You have to link me to that book. Because I
Yeah.
Okay.
totally forgot and I won't be
Yeah,
able to
I'll shoot
remember
that
it.
your way.
So yeah,
Cool.
sweet.
Yeah, I love the way that
So
the
wait, like
the old ways of
the
preserving
books,
stuff.
it's not just like smoke it in the morning, then smoke it in the afternoon, and then smoke more in the evening, and
Yeah, man, I already got that routine down.
it's that's
No,
how I find it's best used.
it has some pretty dense, like, chemical breakdowns of the different alkaloids and, like, what
Yeah,
they do for
that's
different
cool.
things. It's
I
it's
like to have the
heavy.
hard copy of the book too, like, just having the
Mhm.
book in your hand,
Yeah.
um, because, not to sound like a fucking apocalypse now guy, but, like, who the fuck knows when this shit's gonna end, like, when you won't be able to access information on the internet, right? Like,
Dude,
I
Well,
need to have copies of
I
these
keep
books.
I keep saying that on our show. If society changes in a dramatic way where we don't have all this stuff, we, all the weed growers and other people, of course, but predominantly a lot of cannabis growers are going to be the physicians, you know, and the shamans who grow the medicine. So it is
Right.
very
Be the
beneficial,
witch
I think, just to
doctors.
learn a little bit about it. Yeah. So that you have some of that. Or like
Yeah.
you said, just get hard copies of books so that you have them around.
Yeah,
I think
and
so. As
Yeah.
far
sitting
as
down and reading a book too, like, I don't know, I don't really like reading as much, like, digitally, like, on a small screen.
Oh, I
Um,
do it.
it's just not
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
that. Amen to that. But so the fear for me isn't so much that the information is going to be like the grid's going to collapse and we're going to like be thrust into another dark age and like a pre-industrial, society sort of thing, which might happen. It might actually be kind of cool if it did. Let's be real. But like the fear is of the censorship, man. Like one day, the powers that be may decide, like, well, this information is just, we don't want this out there because we want to sell a product that's, you know, gonna
Uh,
compete with
uh,
this.
100%. I got a question. My question in response to that would be, have you ever seen any information about natural tobacco and health anywhere?
No, I mean,
You know,
everything I know about tobacco is that it's horrible for you.
100%. So that's one
So,
example. Yeah.
you know,
Well, that's a rabbit hole we don't really need to go down, but that's an
so you
example of
telling
how
me
those
it might not be?
tobacco by itself, grown organically, aged and cured properly, I think doesn't have to be harmful for everyone.
Interesting, man. Interesting, dude. I
Yeah.
fucking I buy that. I might actually buy that. I'll look into it.
I'm gonna
For
get
sure,
crucified
though. I
for this
mean,
in the
it's all like
Discord.
the hey, man, listen, it's probably all the additives and shit that they add on to cigarettes and whatnot. I mean,
Well, people have been
I don't know.
smoking tobacco as a plant for 1,000 years or more. Same with cannabis. I
Yeah, but
think
you
they
don't
took
think
it, but
people have been dying of lung cancer from it for thousands of years or more?
I don't. I
No?
don't.
No?
Mm-mm.
All right. Hey, all right. All right. That's honestly the first time I've heard that. See, this information's fucking censored, guys. Like,
Mhm.
I'm open minded.
Well, and it's easy to see in that industry because all of what the processed tobacco companies took it over. So what they make in cigarettes is not tobacco. They take the dredge of like cigar factories and pipe tobacco factories. They dissolve that with a solvent into like a paste and then spread it out into a
Yeah.
sheet mixed with the chemicals and everything else and then shred that. And that is what goes into a cigarette, disguised as tobacco, but it's not anywhere near even tobacco. It's like saying that, anything from McDonald's is food, essentially.
Or
Uh,
like saying that like fluoride is good for your health, like it's good
yeah,
for your teeth. We're gonna
yeah.
put this drug the water for all you people out there. Like,
But
you
there,
ever
so
look
when
into
they
that
started,
stuff?
yes, 100%. But on this,
Well,
like, when they started all the studies around tobacco and cancer was based on commercially produced cigarettes. Um,
ah,
so I personally have looked, not yet found a study related to a specific type of actual clean natural tobacco grown and studied on someone and have what its effects are. And there's other interesting historical cases during the Black Death. Where the bird mask that was
yeah.
stuffed with tobacco. That was stuffed with tobacco because it's antibacterial, so it served as a filter
Hmm,
to be able to breathe through. And a lot of
interesting.
doctors would smoke a pipe for that reason, to keep bacteria and infections at bay. So there's some. Yeah, I don't know. I think tobacco
Smoke
is a
is
fascinating plant.
antibacterial, or the
Tobacco's
the tobacco
to
itself.
both. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I don't know. I think it's a really fascinating thing, but it's touchy to talk about because I agree cigarettes are fucking awful. Marbs, Camels,
Well,
all these brands are
hey,
fucking awful. They're really, really bad. And what the my connection to it, I guess, what makes me sad is that the way that's all set up has kept people essentially from learning anything about natural tobacco, where it might actually benefit some people. It does a lot for my mental health. I'll tell you that much. Um,
interesting.
yeah. So, but
Well,
I do.
dude,
It's a sensitive topic, so I do try not to evangelize
no,
too
no,
much.
no. I'm I
Open
think
forum
people
here,
should
brother.
be open-minded as fuck about this kind of stuff. I mean, it really is. I've never heard that idea even like floated out there before. I'll be real with you. And I've looked into a lot of weird stuff. I'll be real, you know. So the the fact that I don't know, that it's new to me is just it tells me that there might be something there because it's like literally everything I've ever heard in my life about cigarettes is that it's bad, bad, bad. Never smoke tobacco, never touch tobacco. Tobacco bad, right? You know, so it's
Of course.
hey,
Yeah.
kind of the same thing they do about other drugs, isn't it? That they want to
Well,
keep
that
keep
shit
out of
on the
your hands.
shelves will kill you. That will
Well,
kill you.
That will kill
think
you. Yeah,
about
yeah.
like
Period.
the cannabis market if given the time to like
Exactly. So we should
metastasize
know.
into this like Marlboro Green type industry where
Oh
they
my
like
God. Can you
spray
imagine?
addictive chemicals onto the buds before they give them to you in like pre-rolls, 20 pre-rolls in a little carton of floor scrapings from the cannabis factory. Seriously, that's
Will. It will.
the point we're in
It
tobacco.
will.
Like,
It's
Yeah.
horrible.
They'll
I don't
spend the
know,
R and
that'll
D.
be
They'll spend the R&D money to make the perfect blend that smokes and tastes perfect, you know,
yeah.
and whatever chemicals it takes to do that, they'll do that, you know, so they
Oh,
make it appealing
man,
and sell to
that's
people.
Terrible.
crazy.
I do think it
We,
would
I
go
mean,
that way.
we know better than anybody that like no plant is inherently evil, right? It's
Mhm.
people that are
Mm.
evil.
True.
Mhm.
The use,
So
I mean, tobacco isn't
Yeah.
like
What about
intended to be
nightshade?
smoked.
even I
Yeah,
mean, tomato
Tomatoes,
is in the nightshade family.
Mm.
it is, yeah. That, you know,
So
it used
no
to be
plant's
like
inherently evil.
used to be a common like understanding or thing people would say that tomatoes cause
now,
stomach cancer,
all right,
like in the like a long time ago.
That's right. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
really? Well,
Yeah.
there's
Mhm.
one plant, G3, one plant that is inherently evil that people have known about through all of history. It's been demonized in folklore and, you know, European and wherever else it grows naturally in mythology for lots of time. You know what that one plant is? Mandrake, the mandrake root,
Oh yeah, because
which
it's a
is not
poison, right?
just a
Totally
Harry
not evil.
Potter, not just a Harry Potter. You know, it doesn't scream necessarily when you pull it up from the ground, but like that was a myth back in the Middle Ages. You know, Dark Ages.
Yeah.
And the roots do tend to look like very humanoid forms, really. Like if you look up, just do some googling on mandrake roots, and it's like okay, well, I see why people, you know, thought they were kind of that they might scream when you pulled them up because they look like little fetuses in some cases. It's very
Mhm.
disturbing. But like people have always demonized these things. But interestingly enough, there's a lot of health benefits, and there's a lot of like if used improperly sort of things. This can also hurt you very badly. Sorts
It
of
can be
Yeah.
things
very
about it too.
toxic. Yes, extremely.
Yeah. It's really is. I mean, we speak objectively like adults, just with things across the board. Opium is a natural plant and has health benefits. You
Like
know, the poppy fruit comes from the
toxicity.
poppy,
Yeah,
but
toxicity
they
itself is 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 that not medicinal? Is medicine not
well,
also toxic if
in a
over
way, but
applied?
kind of what we're talking about is like humans tend to extract the strongest. It's probably capitalism too, but
Yeah,
extracting the strongest part of a thing and then using that. Did that with opiates. They've done
yeah,
it
yeah,
with,
yeah.
sugar. Now we extract all of our sugar from the cane plant and refine
Yeah,
it. So
they
now it's like
refine
killing
it.
people, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, all of these refined, extracted things I think are generally bad for us, kind of overall.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I
it
mean, you
just
make a good
raises a lot
point
of
about tobacco,
interesting.
though. It really
Yeah,
does.
it raises a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, plants are not necessarily good or evil, like G3
Mhm.
said. But
Hmm.
there are plants that throughout history, for whatever reason, have been demonized.
Hmm.
And in, like, I don't want to say in most cases, but in a lot of cases, if you really look into it, like, there are some medicinal benefits to the mandrake root. Seriously, like, it
Hmm.
can be used for like, I don't know, because I'm not a wizard. I can't tell you off the top of my head. I didn't go to Hogwarts, for fuck's sake. But like, look into it. There's some interesting stuff. And
Hmm.
the same with, our favorite plant. Like, it's been demonized through all of history, but we all know there's some serious fucking health benefits there. I mean,
Hmm. Well, it cures
you know, you,
cancer. You got to beep out cures, though.
it maybe, I don't know, does it, can it,
Yes.
it possibly,
Yeah.
yeah, all
I've
right,
seen it.
for that
I've seen it with my
RSO,
own eyes. Yep.
what,
Hmm.
through a microscope and see the
No, I mean, I
THC
have,
molecules attack the
I've,
the cancer cell.
I have close friends who have wiped out tumors with RSO, and they're gone,
No
gone,
shit.
gone. Hmm. Yep.
Hey man, I mean, Rick Simpson, that's why his name is on
But
the product. And I'm
it's
not
all
here to
sorts of
knock it.
it's cannabis in general as a plant. Yeah, like so I've heard other stories. One was a guy who, oh, I wish I could remember his name. I'd have to look this up. He used to work with Jack Herer, and he would process hash, and so all day he'd be handling keef and hash with his hands. And people in this, kind of a long story, but short, his family had a history of cancer and tumors that would pop up like in the limbs, and he started getting these in his hands. He was getting these little tumors, but as he worked with the hash, they went away. And he said, like, completely everything that he had in his
Oh
forearms
shit.
went away and never came back. So I think it's also just
Wow.
interaction with the plant, like getting it into your system. Getting the cannabinoids in. Like, I do think THC is actually, or and all these cannabinoids were and are essential human nutrients, just like vitamin C, D, K, all those, that
Well,
it is actually a
I
part
buy
of our,
that, man. I've
yeah,
said it before. We
Too.
all have cannabinoid receptors in our body.
yeah. So like we traditionally, it was consumed in many different forms, not just smoked. People would eat it and it would be used for oils to cook with and everything. It was just always ingesting this plant. So yeah, I think,
Hmm.
but as far as the cancer thing, to me, that debate is closed. Uh I get incensed when I see fucking pink bubblegum machines that have the breast cancer ribbon on them, because the contradiction is just such, it's a slap in the face, truly. Um, but doctors are hamstrung. They
Well,
can't write
like
this down.
refined sugar being like
Well,
also
bubble gum,
promoting it.
yeah, gumballs cause cancer. I mean, so
Do they?
putting them
No
on,
shit.
yeah, for sure. I would say,
Specifically
like,
gumballs.
Yeah.
Why?
dude, for sure, like because of like what you said, the refined chemicals that make up the constituents of them. So what I'm saying, like, and so that's a bold statement to say gumballs cause cancer, but all
Well,
of
I mean,
these
so
things combined, they're
gum.
not things that our bodies are supposed to process. The juices from the gum, there's
Gotcha.
polysorbate, there's colorings, there's all sorts of stuff,
Oh, the
preservatives.
I mean,
coloring just to get
every
those level of pigments
Yeah,
and for them to stay that color
And
in
fresh,
sun and
semi-fresh.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So, but
every
the
gum now has that fake sugar in it now too. The
yeah,
aspartame. You can't find gum without
yes,
it.
right.
Hmm.
So I had a friend who
Xylitol.
had he had a stage 3, close to 4 tumor in his lung. It was probably about, half of that size. Um, and the doctor told him to come back in 90 days for a scan so they could tell the progression of how fast it's growing, right? So they're like, we're not going to do anything right now. Go home. We'll scan you again in 3 months. So he started taking RSO, but not even whole plant RSO. This was made from BHO. So this is another friend of mine who was a caregiver was extracting butane oil, purging that, and then decarbing that and making a decarboxylated THC oil for this guy as a patient. And he took a gram of that, so 1,000 milligrams close, probably like 900 milligrams of THC every day for 90 days until he went back and it was completely gone. Like he was completely clean. So the doctor asked him what he used, and he told him, and he said he couldn't write that down. The doctor said, he said, I have to write down CBD because I can't write down that you took THC to treat this. a lot of doctors are hamstrung in what they can even document. So I would
Oh
allege
my
that I
gosh.
would say that they know that if you went and got a doctor away from his phone and everything else, said, "Hey, this is true, right?" And he would say, "Yeah, I just can't write it down."
There's something there for sure.
Yeah,
Oh, that's crazy, man. Oh, I
Well,
totally
I
buy
too,
it.
I think that there's also some of the same thing that goes on with doctors as in politics. We still have a lot of the old timers, right? You know, that are getting ready to cash in and collect, you know, Social Security.
yeah,
Once they get off, you know, politics and retire as doctors, I think you'll start to see a little bit more and more progressive behavior towards politics with cannabis and medicine with cannabis.
yeah,
Obviously, too, a lot of that has to do with federal legalization, but
yeah.
Biden
Well,
has put in some measures to try to have more research done with cannabis.
look,
So at least
I
he's
hope
he's done something there.
I
See,
hope someday they can at least document it and say, start to
see.
have some stuff on paper because everybody on the ground knows knows
Hmm.
what the truth is.
The
They know what
people
this does.
know. People
Yeah.
know.
I know plenty of caregivers that have been quietly just curing patient after patient after patient, in the
Dude,
dozens.
it's also it's just like the fact that they know, right? Like obviously, like I mean, let's be real. Like they probably do know, and the truth is being withheld about that topic.
Mm,
But like, at the same time, like the fucking gumballs cause cancer. Like, but
mhm.
that'll never be talked about. They're not allowed to write articles about that. No one's allowed to talk about that. If you make a video on YouTube about that, you're going to be fucking censored, kicked right off the platform.
Well,
Like,
yeah, the beef
that's
with me
the
with that
problem.
is,
That's the problem.
yeah, I agree. That example I gave is because there's a breast cancer awareness ribbon on the gumball machine. That was what got me hot. People are gonna buy and eat gumballs. People are gonna eat McDonald's. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. But dude, promoting God with the devil is really something. It's
True,
brash, you
true,
know?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just modern life causes cancer these days, I think.
Yeah, it's true.
You
That's
you
true.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, especially
So,
interaction with modernity.
yeah. So I think it's way beneficial for people to ingest cannabinoids on a consistent basis in whatever form works for you. If you can't be high at work, obviously, then you can't, but like there's CBD, there's other full spectrum things. There's ways to get these compounds and the alkaloids into the body. Because it generally improves health just for everything. I mean, so another thing I'll plug is the Cannabis Health Radio podcast. Nobody's looked that up. That's what it's called. You can find it on all the apps and stuff. Um, it's all of each of their episodes is a story about somebody that cured something with RSO. Most of them are cancer.
Good shit.
Some are diabetes. Some people just wipe it out. It's not a problem anymore. All sorts of other things, skin conditions, eczema, IBS, gout, all sorts of things. Yeah. So even one lady I heard say she took RSO suppositories to treat cancer, killed the cancer, and also she had receding gums and her gums grew back, which
What?
they let dentists tell you that's not possible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that was impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. A lot of
that
that stuff, yeah. A lot of the common
it's
wisdom
wild,
is not
man.
so wise, you know.
that's wild,
Yeah.
man.
I know
They say,
that's most everything. They used to tell you like back in the day, they like doctors would tell you which brand of cigarettes was like best for your 2-year-old.
yeah,
And
totally.
like
Yeah,
nine
yep,
out of 10 doctors advise that your infant smokes Camel Lights.
yep.
It's insane, man.
Oh, but
Insane.
the state of medicine right now is nowhere near anything related to medicine, and I mean no offense to doctors who mean it. Obviously there are many of them who are really trying to help people, but the state of the industry, fuck, it's bad. It's way bad right now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, every
So
time
like,
you turn on the television, you have another commercial for a new drug.
yeah, yeah, and they're making
You know,
everybody worse. So I think, but
never
And you can't
thought.
this
even
is,
tell what they do. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's like somebody
No.
yeah,
walking in a park, the slow motion, who looks happy, and then
yeah.
shows a flashback to being sad about something, and then it shows
Yeah,
them living their happy life. I'm like, what is this even about.
Well,
If you listen to those, if you just turn the volume down, you could literally put somebody in a room and play every single one of those and be like, "Look, this is an advertisement for hallucinogenics," and they'd be like, "Yeah, that looks good to me."
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
The side effects are
Movies.
typically way worse than your average hallucinogenic.
yeah, and in some cases, death may occur.
It's
Yes.
like
yeah.
sudden
Or they're
and
for
random death may
yeah,
cause death.
exactly. You try to cure hemorrhoids and kill
Actually,
yourself.
my favorite thing that they say in these commercials is like the exact mechanism is I'm sorry, the exact mechanism of action is unknown, but it is
Right?
believed to be blank. And
Yep.
we're like, wait, we don't even know how it works. It just we think it kind of works, and patients have reported a little bit of improvement when we give this to them. So
Yep.
That's
here,
one
Well,
of
that
those
was
take it.
things where they are like, we're trying to do something else and they accidentally fell into like, oh, hey, well, what we were working for doesn't actually work, but this other thing, it kind of improves. So maybe we should go in
yeah.
that direction.
I think that's actually how that's how they invented like Viagra. And interestingly
Mm,
enough, G3, it was like a
I
blood
think you're
pressure
correct. Yeah.
lowering medication.
mm-hmm.
If your blood pressure drops significantly, and like it's easier to pump blood, I guess, into certain regions of the body.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, they were like, oh, it does this other thing.
yeah, it does
I'm
this.
not,
It has its
Smell
other
that.
I'm
interesting
not aware,
side effect.
Captain. Can you elaborate? I'm just
Oh,
fucking with you, dude.
you've heard of the little blue pill,
I
you know?
just
Come on.
I just wanted to see you there, kind of look squirm a little bit there, twisting in
Come
your chair
on.
with your
Hey,
So
brown
just
work jersey.
if I may connect it back, we were talking about like the idea of a shift in society and what cannabis growers might be, good for, basically, aside from just growing our own weed, so to speak. I do think that like many people will wake up to this realization that you can be this is a cheeky word, but the pharmacy, but in a real way, for the people around you. Say, oh, this person has this, here's this person has that, here's this thing. And to take a little bit of time just to come to an understanding of stuff like make RSO from the trim from your crop and save that and like try to stock things up. This is just kind of generally what I like to try to push that concept,
you're like
because
the urban witch doctor.
essentially, yeah, yeah. Because we can grow a bunch of really good flower, and even if like without our fancy grow tents, we can do it outside. But this really is a medicinal plant. So I'm not saying it's a one or the other. It's every aspect of it. I enjoy it as a recreational thing and as a medicine both. So it helps me in all these different ways. But yeah, I do think all this like surface industry fake medicine stuff that's happening right now is probably going to go away at some point because we won't have the infrastructure to support it, you know? So we'll need to like sort of be
Well,
those
the like
people.
the petrochemical based, like pharmaceutical based medicinal industry. Like I think you're probably
Yeah.
right, like to a certain extent, and people will
We,
need to be very knowledgeable about plant based medicine and things that
yep.
they may have considered toxic or something like that their whole lives. Like certain plants have value, I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know what necessarily like poison ivy you could be used for in like a
Something probably.
if you need to cause a rash. I mean, hey, you know
Yeah.
of a place to do that, you'll be all right.
I can't
But
work as good as toilet paper.
don't do that. Oh man, don't do that.
Mhm.
I knew a dude who once did that. Oh, ugly,
Uh,
ugly, ugly.
Painful.
so yeah.
Well, no, man, I think you're right. And like plant medicine is making a comeback. People are becoming more and more knowledgeable about it, but it's also not something to fuck around with. Like,
Hmm.
you don't want to be that
Hmm.
guy who's just like whipping up like witch's brews in your apartment, because there's actually a lot of stuff out there that can really fuck you up that you might not be aware of, that you probably have in your spice cabinet right now. Like
Yep.
in particular, nutmeg.
Yep.
Nutmeg will get you higher than you've ever been in your life. like
We do not recommend
uncomfortably high
anybody consuming
for like
nutmeg to be high.
3 whole
Thank you.
No.
days.
Yeah. But, disclaimer, that one, it is a weird I did that in my 20s. I tried some nutmeg,
You
and yes, it
do
works.
not wanna get high on nutmeg, but, like,
No, it
that's
sucks
why no
ass.
one talks about it. Yeah, it's just not
Yeah.
like a thing you wanna do.
It's like morning glory seeds too. That'll work.
Basically, yeah.
Mhm.
There's a couple of
Yep.
those, and I imagine that there's dozens, if not hundreds and hundreds of this type of stuff, but hey, man, there's a there's a world where all of these things are gonna be useful to know, you know?
Yeah, and with, like, things that, like, really basic things too, like, right now, all of our antibiotics are made in China right now. As far as I understand, I don't think any antibiotics are manufactured in the US. So, all
Oh,
we gotta
shit.
do is have a little bit of hostilities and an embargo, and we don't have antibiotics, fuck. So
What kind of a
there's natural sources for those too. There's a moss that grows in most states in the US except for the Southwest that serves as an antibiotic that the Native Americans used. So there's analogs for all these different things that have functions in our lives that just would benefit people to learn about. All you got to do is get a couple of books, really. Like, and I don't even mean specific ones, just look up herbal medicine and then just start reading about it. It's pretty
holy
fascinating.
shit.
Mm. It's more like you just said, holy shit, it's more interesting when you see it in contrast to what we have right now and saying, this like the store down the street might not be open. Where else am I going to get any of this stuff? So somebody in the community
Huh.
got to know about that.
Yeah, dude, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
But yeah,
Bring it on back around. Bring it on back around
cannabis.
to the growing, shall we? Let's
Yeah. Yeah.
let's let us. Well, dude, I can't even believe we had quite a conversation there. Got wrapped up,
That
lost
was
track
good.
of time, but it's all right. It's all right. I want to hear about your favorite style of growing in particular. Like what are you currently on? You know, medium wise, nutrient wise. Um, what strains do you particularly enjoy? I think you mentioned that already. The
Cool.
sativas, right?
Yep. Generally
Yeah, talk about
sativas.
your growing style, please.
Cool. Well, right now I'm so I've gone through a few different phases. I did some KNF stuff last year with fermented nettle fertilizer and a bloom fertilizer and stuff like that, and that works great. Um, but I have gotten over the last year really busy with my job, and so I required a little bit more automation. So I went to using Athena nutrients in the reservoir with auto pots, and I'm just actually right now at the end of the supply that I had bought when I started using Athena. So like probably this
Oh
crap
shit.
will run it out. Um, so it actually lasted quite a long time for what the monetary investment was.
Were
But
you using soil with that or
no, I'm using
cocoa?
well, it's kind of a cocoa soil mix. What it is I started with cocoa, and then over time going in and out of totes and stuff, it's mixed with soil that I have. So now I just have like this mix that's my medium. And
Gotcha.
well, yeah,
It's
when I when I cycle grows, I put everything in the auto pots, clean, get all the roots and stuff out, and then take those outside and just take the garden hose and just I have a filter on the garden hose line, just really soak all the pots and wash them out. And then I just buffer that with some nutrients and then start the new crop in that. And that has been working so far. But yeah, I use auto pots with on a reservoir and Athena right now as the nutrient. I use Remo or Remo or however you pronounce that in the
yeah,
nu- in the res. It got a little scummy in the res, which is whatever. But for me, I just wanted something I didn't have to worry about. So this has been a nice system, and automation is what's helped me the most. So I just got into like some of these remote sensors, like RH sensors in
Mhm.
the spaces that I have. And then cameras. I just got some cameras in the mail so I can look at stuff while I'm not there.
Wait.
Um, yeah. And then Monsa actually followed some of your advice and got single outlet digital timers,
Mhm,
like the heavy duty outside ones. Because
mhm.
I was running on those 3 outlet timers and they were getting warm. And I heard you guys talking about that and I was like, oh fuck. So switched over to the single outlet ones.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important, and they'll tell you they can handle like 1,500 watts or something, but they really can't.
No, they
Like
get warm.
full time, like you know what I mean. Like if
Yeah.
you want to power your Christmas lights or whatever, full time. But yeah,
hmm
couple of grow lights
Yeah.
in no time. You
Yeah.
can feel them, like just
Yeah.
go up and feel your timers, feel your
Yep.
plugs. If they feel warm, you're overloading something somewhere.
Yep. Yep. And that should
Nice.
be the first thing everybody pays attention to.
They shouldn't
Yep.
ever feel warm.
Right.
Like it should be cool to the touch, just like any other wall surface in your house.
Yep.
Shouldn't feel warm.
So yeah, that was a good lesson. And then so I run right now Mars Hydro uh FCE 6500, I think they're called. It's the
So
bar
that's a
lights.
650-watt light. Yeah, those are pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bars.
It's got the 6 bars. And yeah, those are nice. They seem to have a nice spectrum. The plants pray. Um, I've got them on straps so I can lower them up and down and balance that with the dimmer to try to, because if I have them up all the way and have the lights up high, my temperature will get too hot just from the ambient light of having them turned up all the way. So I actually try to turn the dimmer down and bring the lights down closer to the plants and then check. I use the app, the Photon app on my phone
Yeah.
to check the light.
Love the
That work.
photon.
It's
Yeah.
like close enough for horseshoes for me.
Right?
Yeah, and getting a par meter is like $300. So,
Ain't gonna happen. Yeah.
yeah,
It gets it in the ballpark.
yeah.
So
But yeah, my
cool,
my
man.
biggest challenge lately has been VPD. I fucking spaced VPD on the beginning of this last grow, and so I think my seedlings stunted because it was too dry. And so now they're not quite as tall as I'd like them to be, but it's what it is. But I think that was the connection there. I think that the next time I start a run, I'm going to pay really close attention to having that high humidity when the seedlings are coming up. Yep.
That is a very key point
Yep.
to make, especially with your autos.
hmm
You want, I mean, LED tent, you want your temperatures to be 80 degrees plus in most cases. In the beginning stages of the grow, match the humidity to whatever the temperature is. Like if your temp's 82, try to keep the humidity around there too. I mean, even
Yep.
more. I mean, you can get it up to 100 if they're really really small. I got I'm
Farm clouds.
I started
Yeah.
a
Well,
brand new grow. I got a bunch of babies up there, and it's just humidifiers are cranked.
Well,
They're
if you
yeah.
do get it too high,
90
the plant
plus.
won't be able to transpire. So you never want to go
Right.
too high.
You do
They're
want to keep it
very
in that
very small.
range.
Like
Right.
the first couple. Like, that's why people have like those humidity domes too on their
hmm
on their seedlings and stuff like that. I mean, as soon as they do sprout, of course you turn it down, but maybe yeah, when you
No, I
plant
think
your seeds, it's best to keep a high humidity. So
I
I have
think
a
you're right.
problem with helmet heads and
Okay, let me ask you a
membranes
question. Do you
on
put
my
the
seeds.
cups over your seedlings for humidity?
Yeah, I do.
Stop.
Stop. Why?
For one, it's pointless. The plant is not small, is not big enough for that humidity to do anything. It's gonna focus more on root growth at that stage. And I bet stop having the helmet heads.
Talking about literal
I,
germination.
well,
Oh, you're
I do that same thing with the cups, but then I take my cup off right when I see green, the very, very first bit of green coming
Yeah,
out, then take the cup off because then it's going to start. It needs to come to the air.
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly. It needs to start to breathe, but
just until it
for
sprouts, basically. Yeah.
That super
right.
high
So I
humidity is more important for clones, rather than little tiny seedlings. You definitely want high humidity, but I feel like the cups that go over the seedlings is a kind of like a bro science thing.
Well, I've
germination,
had,
I think, is you need that super high humidity. So
yeah.
helmet heads is an issue I face all the time, and that means your seeds don't quite come off. Like the seed shell doesn't quite come off. And it's that little it's a trapped little seedling inside of
Mhm.
a shell. They'll tend to come up out of the soil, but they'll still have a shell on. That's a result, a lot of times, I've read, of low humidity when germinating. It needs to be higher.
You could
and
pre-soak your seeds for that just for like 24 hours.
right, yeah, we're just
Yep.
adding more moisture to the
Yep.
germinating environment, I think.
Hmm.
But I don't know. It's an interesting correlation, I think.
Yeah, I've been doing
But
the soaking thing lately. Before I germinate, a pre-soak in just pH'd, water for 24 hours, and then put them into a paper towel setup. Because the pre-soaking is kind of like soaking beans. It just softens that shell quite a bit. So then when they do sprout, it's easier to peel off.
yeah, maybe I'll
Hmm.
try that because,
I
dude, I
got the
get them
same
like
thing.
honestly, I'd say it's more often than not. Like 60% of the time, I get like sprouted. They come
Hmm.
up, but they're like
Yep.
maybe hanging off. Maybe they're still mostly on.
Hmm.
But I
I
gotta
know what you
do
mean.
emergency like seedling C-section surgery
You ever
to get them.
you ever try to like you try to pull the shell off, and then you just pull the seedling out of the dirt, like because it's such new roots, and
It,
you're like, oh.
Yeah,
it's
I've done
so
that.
I
delicate.
I've
do it
also
one time.
completely beheaded one. And for science, I let it go and it grew. It grew back. So
Nice.
some of the resilient
Happens.
ones will even beheading them, they'll come back.
Wow.
Well,
um
I think
yeah, man.
I think my humidity was too low. It's part of
Yeah.
the whole story. Like in germinating these seeds, I did not have a humidifier in that tent, but I did have a heater,
Mm,
dropping the humidity. So
Dropping the humidity, there you go. Yeah.
yeah.
even with the humidity domes on the pots, like, the solo cups with holes poked in them, it's not high enough. Not
Mm.
high enough. So
Yeah,
just maybe a little tip.
I think even in veg, I mean, if people don't know about it already, look up VPD and look up the charts. The charts are
Mhm.
pretty easy to understand. But in veg, you can keep it really fucking high. I mean, if it's 80 degrees, it can be 75% RH. And you're not going to get like, I mean, depending on where you are and what time of year, you might get PM and stuff like that. But if it's early in veg, it can be really, really
Yeah,
moist. It's
yeah,
not
you'll
going to be a
be all
problem.
right, man. High
Yeah.
humidity is, it'll promote a lot of good growth in the early
Hmm.
stages. And just make sure you have really good air movement and you can keep the humidity above 50% through the whole grow. I mean, we've had guests on that say they keep theirs in 65 plus in the end stages of flower, just making sure the air is
Mine's
circulating.
certainly pretty close to that stage. Most of the grow, pretty consistent. 65%. Drop it down a little bit towards the end. Um,
Right
the
on.
thing about PM isn't really so much the high humidity, which is obviously a catalyst. It's the shifts in humidity. It's
Mm,
the swings is what will get you every single time. The super high humidity, then the low, and same thing with temperature swings. It's the dramatic shifts that will really bite you in the ass.
Hardest to avoid too, because when it switches
Yeah, when the
to
lights go out.
darkness, yeah,
oh yeah.
all
Yeah.
the rules change.
Yeah.
A lot of things that can help with that too is just a simple dehumidifier. Like for instance, right, that's going to keep your environment warm and less humid when the lights go out. So
Yeah.
that can work. And
So
the power thing, right? Because a lot of times I know how it works, right? You're running your grow lights, you don't have the amperage to run the DU too. But when the lights go out, that DU can run. So you could have that set on like a timer. Uh, Careful with what timers you use for DUs because they draw a lot of power.
Good call.
yeah, no
Good
doubt.
call. Well, so what is your favorite strain, man? Like, what's your favorite strain to grow? Favorite to smoke? Just what's your favorite?
Mhm. Um, boy, I don't know. It's a good question. So far, I think Cosmic Apprentice from Night Owl was actually the favorite one that I had that actually liked to grow and smoke. The whole process was really nice. It was pretty like non finicky, pretty easy to take care of.
Yeah.
Really, really good yield. Really good terps, everything. Yeah.
He's an auto man. I like him.
Yeah.
Auto
On the
man.
on the photo side, I like Durbans. I like Durban Poison a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, Durban's a
Yeah.
personal
See,
favorite of mine.
you mentioned the cosmic being a little psychedelic. So, and Durban definitely does that, has that same kind of effect for me. So, you're just a space cadet, dude. You're just like that weed that sends you off into a little bit of a
Hmm.
different planet for a couple minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I like the more motivational kind of smoke. Yeah.
Right
My
on.
dog is
Hell
bark.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Yep.
We'd be
Oh,
motivated
there we
on a
go.
different planet. That's how I like it, at least. I'm
Totally.
like, I'm on Jupiter, but I'm motivated as shit to find something cool to do around here. But
Yeah. Do you guys want to I'm sorry to do this to you, but chat amongst yourselves for a moment. I just my dog is barking like crazy. I'm just gonna go take a peek.
it's all
Well,
Yeah.
good,
you
man.
know what,
All
Yeah.
man?
good.
It's actually getting pretty late anyway. This is about the time we usually wrap it up. So can you just tell people where they can find you real quick and plug your show?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so it's Rooter Alistair on Instagram. Rooter Alice with a TIR at the end. Uh and then our podcast is the Crafting Cannabis Podcast. So that's just Crafting Cannabis Podcast on Instagram also. And craftingcannabispodcast.com is where we have like all our stuff, all our links to the Discord and everything like that. So
Word.
yeah,
Sweet.
yeah.
What's your dog's name?
Wilma. Wilma Jean.
Wilma, that's right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wilma.
Well,
Yeah.
Cool,
you
man.
get to Wilma. I know how it is, brother. So we
Oh
appreciate your
yeah.
time, man. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Yes. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you guys. That was a lot of fun.
Hey,
Yeah,
we
man.
can talk anytime and get in my DMs, Rudy.
All
I
right.
mean it. But
Sounds good.
yeah, have fun with Wilma and thank you again. And guys out there in the audience, we want to thank you. Wait, this is where I'm looking now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Yeah,
Real
hit
quick,
up our website.
listen, before we go, I just have something kind of important to say. I know you got to take off, Rudy. Big shout out to Jeff, Mad Hatter Organics. He's been the man behind the scenes the whole time we've been doing this video thing. He's a busy man, and he's moving on to his own thing. So this will actually be the last show where Jeff's behind the scenes. Just want to give you a big thank you, buddy. You've been awesome, and we appreciate the
Love you.
support the whole
Thank
way.
you, Jeff.
And go check out his show, The Growers Exchange.
Yeah. It's
Producing
awesome.
some really
Oh
good
yeah.
content. So make sure you
yeah.
guys check it out.
Sure. For sure. Well, yeah, until next time, y'all, we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Don't get caught and peace out.
Peace.
Peace out.